Oh snap, look what just happened. You can run away from the hype train all you want. It's gonna catch up right to you, and that hype train's gonna have something for you, and it's gonna catch your intrigue, and it's gonna catch your curiosity. Alright? It's kind of like what happened with me and the Nintendo Switch. Now, I did say, now when the Nintendo Switch was coming out, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a Switch when these three things happen. There's more games that I like to play on the Nintendo Switch. There's also no scarcity and no getting sold out of the Nintendo Switch, and oh, the Virtual Console gets released back. It comes back, the Virtual Console is back, and it's up and updated, the Virtual Console's up and loaded and ready to go, and there's the Virtual Console happening right now. Okay, however, two other things happened. One, Nintendo has de-escalated their stock issues, because how did I know about this? I've walked on to my local Target. Next thing you know, I'm seeing units of the Nintendo Switch sitting around here on a shelf. Like, untouched. Like, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Also, what ended up happening with me here is that, and you know, actually, it's better if I just tell the whole story. Now, first I was like, okay, you know what, there's three conditions I have if I want to get a Switch. If I'm gonna get a Switch, you better make these three conditions. Otherwise, I'm not gonna buy them. Next thing you know, there was the patent lawsuit, and I was really like, oh, because of this patent lawsuit, I'm gonna be letting go of the Nintendo Switch. And they came up with a video saying the Nintendo Switch incident. And then, however, when you let things sink in, you kind of come to a realization about how Game Vice, who's filing that lawsuit against Nintendo, is suing Nintendo for violating a patent that belonged to a product that they have discontinued years ago. And when you let that sink in your head, you can see where the criticism towards Game Vice comes from. And another thing you have to keep in mind here about that lawsuit is, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you just give Nintendo the heads up that, oh, the Joy-Con is violating our fucking patent when it was first announced way back then? You would have had the option to basically jump in and do that. Why wait till months after release and then the next thing you know, you're suing someone? That's kind of a little bit sketchy, and I can see where people are trying to come with when they're criticizing Game Vice for that lawsuit. And really, to be honest with you here, yeah, I do kind of see where that's coming from. Now, however, when you have that whole shebang on here, now, unfortunately, what ended up happening here with me, well, actually, scratch that, fortunately, so I ended up getting thoughts of getting a hold of a Nintendo Switch, and I was sitting around here, okay, I was getting more and more curious of the Nintendo Switch, and I'm wondering what the fuck, why? But what do you mean? Well, why am I getting so curious about the Switch? What is it about the Nintendo Switch that is drawing me over? However, I did some investigation, and basically I was sitting here like, you know what, I definitely got to get a Switch. I need to get a Nintendo Switch, because there's, I mean, seriously, it's been catching my interest a lot, and it's been getting a hold of me. I'm getting a lot of curious about this thing, and the next thing you know, I get a hold of the Nintendo Switch, and I'm happy with it. Now, the Nintendo Switch may have its shortcomings, like how the specs gets easily outdated, but however, people will go ahead and come out and say, hey, it's catching up. And however, I can see where people are coming from, and I can see that. And also, another thing you have to keep in mind here, yes, it's not GeForce GTX 1050 or 1050 Ti or whatever graphics card can keep the Nintendo Switch in its price range. But however, at least we have a custom-made NVIDIA Tegra processor. And yes, NVIDIA Tegra is used for mobile phones and smartphones and tablets, and I do understand that. Okay. And also the software lineup, and okay, which we see a lot of E-rated games, and then the next thing you know, when it comes to the T-rated games, it gets heavily censored. Like, let's say, for example, Fire Emblem Fates and Fire Emblem Awakening. Okay, we can see that. And out of all the things that needed to happen, they could just release the game censored, and then the next thing you know, they can come out with a director's cut patch that's optional. They can go to the eShop, download the patch, and do that around here. If people can go out of their own way to download R18 patches for their visual novels over on PC, then why not Nintendo release the director's cut and then kind of release a patch that uncensors and undoes censors? That would be a thing, and that would be wonderful. And basically, if they did that, it would have saved their ass a lot more. And here's the situation here. Nintendo has to come down. You know what? never mind. I don't want to beat around the bush, but I do want to go ahead and move on and go ahead and also say, hey, anything in terms of M-rated games, Nintendo hasn't made themselves. But however, Nintendo has been like, you know what? I'm gonna get out of my own way. I'm gonna be paying the right amount of money that I need to be doing to make Bayonetta 2 exclusive to the Nintendo Wii U, and then make it exclusive to our Nintendo consoles. Next thing you know, Bayonetta 1 and 2 happened, and on the Wii U, it became hugely praised. And it could have saved the Wii U, but however, unfortunately it didn't. But however, when the Nintendo Switch came out, hey, at least we're getting Bayonetta 1 and 2 for the Nintendo Switch, and also we're getting Bayonetta 3. And another thing you have to keep in mind here is that when it comes to M-rated games, Nintendo will have a knack for going out of nowhere and paying up the money to gain the publishing rights of that game. It's not like Nintendo's developed Devil's Third himself. As a matter of fact, Devil's Third was actually made by Itagaki's new studio that was over at THQ, but then THQ bankruptcy drama. We all know how that went. Like I said, the Nintendo Switch has its few shortcomings, but however, the Nintendo Switch has a lot to basically offer. And basically, like I said, hybrid console, you can play it on your TV, on TV mode, with your Joy-Cons with you, and you're sitting around here having a blast with Mario Kart. Next thing you know, you want to lay down in bed while you're playing something. So you slide the Joy-Cons on the side of the Nintendo Switch unit, and you get the Nintendo Switch outside of your dock, and then the next thing you know, you're laying on your bed, having fun with Fake Stella on your bed. Now, another thing you have to keep in mind here is that in terms of the software library, you do have your first-party titles, but keep in mind there are third-party titles for the Nintendo Switch. Keep in mind of that. Okay? So you do have the Nintendo Switch having games that are exclusive to the Nintendo Switch and something you can't find on the PlayStation Store, which is surprising a lot of people sometimes. You do see some rare niche games come out for something that's definitely worth getting a Nintendo Switch for, and it's kind of what happened with me here. There's basically Zero Gunner 2 for the... It was an import game, and however it got re-released on the Nintendo eShop, which is great. And yeah, it's a really interesting game. But however, I'll talk about games in the first later. And also, you do have the idea of it being a hybrid console. You also have the third-party and first-party lineup, which is going to knock you out of the park. There's going to be a lot of things you can play on PlayStation 4. I do see that. But however, something on the Switch that's worth getting a Switch for, there is such thing as. Oh, and another thing to keep in mind here about the Nintendo Switch, you have more ways to play. The Joy-Cons are, they're going to knock you right out of the ballpark. You can play them, you can take both your Joy-Cons and slide them into that grip and play it as like it's a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox controller. You can get a hold of the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Alright? You do you, me do me. And also another thing that's really awesome about the Joy-Cons is how you can use them as separate controllers. You could just take the left Joy-Con for player 1 and then the right Joy-Con for player 2, and that is awesome. That's crazy. The Nintendo Switch is winning Review Tech USA over, it's winning Etiquette over, it's winning a lot of people over, it's winning YouTubers over left and right, and basically there's reasons why when it comes to getting a hold of a Switch. And if you're an NVIDIA fanboy or if you're a huge, big-time NVIDIA nerd, go ahead and get a hold of a Nintendo Switch because, yeah, it's powered by NVIDIA graphics. It's definitely something that's going to catch your interest. Now, before you get a hold of your Nintendo Switch, get a screen protector and have that screen protector protected in that Nintendo Switch screen. Because I'm going to tell you right now, people have been complaining about how the Nintendo Switch dock keeps scratching the screens of Nintendo Switches. That's what I went ahead and do. You might want to also get a hold of an SD card alongside. And also, you do want to get a hold of a Nintendo Switch case, which also comes with pouches that can hold games for you. That's also pretty cool. So that's what kind of happened to me when I got my Nintendo Switch. I got my little travel pouch, and that can carry up to 29 Nintendo Switch games on my Nintendo Switch as well. Hip hip hooray! 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 And okay, now not only that, I got my Nintendo Switch in that bag, but I also got a hold of a screen protector that I got to put on the Nintendo. That I went ahead and I kind of put it on the Nintendo Switch before I even put that fucker on a dock. Alright, so get a screen protector to have installed on your Switch. Well, I can't say installed, but to get that screen protector for your Switch and get a hold of it. Also, another thing you have to keep in mind here is that you're going to have to get a hold of a micro SD card. I had to basically go for one that has the highest memory that I could get a hold of, and yeah, that's another thing you have to keep in mind here. And also, another thing to keep in mind is install, slap that screen protector on that Nintendo Switch screen, because you put that screen protector, there's going to be a benefit. If you're curious about the Nintendo Switch, or basically if you're sitting around here, or actually, let me get to that. If you're curious about the Nintendo Switch, go ahead, give it a try at a demo kiosk, or you know what, if you want to go ahead and say, fuck it, buy a Nintendo Switch. Because basically what's going on around here is that there's going to be games around here. There's going to be Zero Gunner 2, which I'll talk to you about later, and there's going to be some games that's going to be there, and also there's some games that you're playing on the PS4, but hey, you're going somewhere and you want to take something on the go. Okay, kind of like what happened with me here, which I'll get to that later. Or if you're a huge NVIDIA enthusiast here, this is something that's worth collecting, because NVIDIA Tegra chip. And also, if you're sitting around here doubting on the Nintendo Switch and sitting around here being like, oh, the Nintendo Switch, it's not gonna look, it's not even so good. The specs ain't going so well. It's gonna tank and flop. Well, guess what happened? Guess what happened to me? I'm gonna go ahead and say something around here. The hype train is gonna catch up to you, and then the next thing you know, the Nintendo Switch is gonna have something that you can't get mad at the Nintendo Switch at for, and then the next thing you know, there's going to be a huge possibility that the Nintendo Switch is going to have something that's going to tempt you into getting a system in the first place. You know, this is why you have Review Tech USA. This is why you have other people tell you, hey, you got to start taking the Switch seriously. Hey, you got to keep in mind of the Nintendo Switch, because here's the situation here. The Nintendo Switch might have something that's going to catch your curiosity. You're going to end up getting curious. And basically, you can sit around here and be a Debbie Downer all you want. You can sit around here and then be like, oh, lawsuit this, lawsuit that, patent lawsuit this, patent lawsuit that. It's kind of like, because here's what happened to me. Something happened, and I started getting thoughts of getting a Nintendo Switch. I tried to figure out why, but however, the hype train caught up to you, and I ended up paying attention to the hype train, and it was loud and proud. It was out there. It was around there. I was being like, holy crap. That's it, I'm getting a Switch, and there is a high chance that it's going to happen to you. You can sit around here and you can see around here and look down upon the Nintendo Switch, but when something happens with the Nintendo Switch and it's winning you the hell over, there's nothing you can do about it. It's winning you the hell over. You're going to get a hold of it. You're going to end up getting a Nintendo Switch anyway. You're going to try the Nintendo Switch, and you're going to end up eventually enjoying the Nintendo Switch, and you're going to end up benefiting from the Nintendo Switch's features. So you can sit around here and be a Debbie Downer on the Nintendo Switch all you like, because that's what happened to me. And that's why I got my Switch. I got one over. You have to keep in mind that the Nintendo Switch is going to sway you, and it's going to win you over. So, you gotta keep in mind of that. Anyway, that's all. I'll be looking forward to you in the next video.